security. That those days, 2003 days, the people to get the IT job is a major priority for anybody. How to go US, other how to get a job in Bangalore, Chennai, because Bangalore is the Silicon City. Hyderabad is also coming up to that level only. Of course, now Noida, Chennai, Mumbai, and all cities are as the major IT hubs. But however, in those days itself, we thought of cybersecurity is very important with respect to national perspective, because these are the cyber wars. In 1970s itself, after land, air, and water, the fourth space for the war is all people thought about the space only. That space, that's what we ISRO was started some of the activities majorly concentrated in 80s itself, so that we are now one of the leaders in space. So whether it is positively or even in case of tomorrow, something happens also, we have our uh, capability to stop such kind of wars in space also. So, but surprisingly, that cyber war became as in a fifth space, and it is a more apparent at present now. The people are forgotten, because with this cyberspace, I can attack even an individual in any above four attacks. It's kind of a land and all, land attack on a land, grabbing in a land of other country. These are the things can be done. But here in cyber war, I can attack in a particular person. Suppose let's say you are earning 20,000 rupees, but and you are say you saved in the last 5 years of 5 lakh money with all whatever that you are able to save. If somebody is stealing this 5 lakh within seconds, so economically you are down. And if such people are there more in India, so and this entire budget, entire money is transferring to some other country in the form of dollars, because you cannot transfer rupees. No, they will definitely convert into dollar, and dollar, our dollars would be spent. So that it is automatically country's economy also will down. So there are more than 630 crores in last 4 months, 5 months we lost with attacking an individual. Of course, entire $630 whether gone or not, gone is the second issue. But most of the attacks in up to 2010, 2012 from Nigerians and other countries, they majorly used to do it. But now, uh, even the individuals like a Jamtara, the people are saying that not only Jamtara, Bharatpur, these people, places also started. It's not like these are only two places. People are everywhere, because the weakness of a particular person is the major problem here. So it is one way. So other way, even the some of the apps, if you take it, most of the apps, most of the mobiles from China, and recently, one case was cracked by Chinese people. The people are attracting through small games, videos, and even the lotteries, and collecting the data, collecting the information of accounts, collecting the what kind of money you have, how you behave. These all Chinese apps are collecting the data. Even though using for the let's say example of UC browser is there in the mobile. So UC browser is what purpose for accessing some of the internet pages or internet transactions. But the same UC browser collects about your Facebook information and forwards to Chinese servers. See, their motto is not particularly your target. Anybody using, a officer can be using same thing, Android mobile or some Chinese mobile, and using the browser, and whatever is using the browser on, entire information can be transferred to the some of the servers. That is where we need to take some safety to control our privacy, our security by ourselves. That is what the digital safety and the cyber safety is very must for an individual with respect to as an individual, as for the country perspective of view also. So that is where we thought in this 2003 we should have, because at that time there is a no suitable people to part of the security, where they were we started this activity in almost 36 institutes, and the project was started 2005. You know that it takes a lot of iterations for implementing such kind of big projects. So we have considered 32 institutes, that is also like an IITs and NITs and IIITs to implement cyber security courseware in MTech and BTech courses, because every BTech IT engineer should have some basic knowledge of this security. That is what we thought started. And now we are able to conduct all these premier institutes in such a way that a full-time MTech courses, a full-time MS research courses, and you believe it or not, we expected to 600 papers last 5 years, but we are able to deliver 6,000 papers on cybersecurity and with relation of related subjects of cybersecurity papers from these institutes. That is what we most success, because if we have a papers, the research it is we are able to encourage in the research. If we have a research, you are able to release as many as products, indigenous products, and no dependency on the foreign products. That is what we thought, and we started this implementation as part of education. And also we training the government official with the target of 10,000, of course, 13,000. Of course, we covered already 11,000 members by this time. Is more on government official training. A third party's awareness. As part of this awareness, we have to train teachers as a master trainers. That's what we implemented e-learning. So because 2 days which we can't learn, that's what we implemented an e-learning program as part of this information security training, so that you may go ahead and you may continue it. And of course, this won't go waste in your life. As an individual, you will benefit first, and second thing, we are also thinking of at this moment as a third phase, so that we want to utilize your certification, whatever you are doing at this moment as part of this courseware, as we will use, maybe we may be using as a resource persons in respective areas, so that either you can conduct awareness programs within your school itself, where you will get some kind of encouragement from the government. Also, further, if you can capable for supporting in the, but because some teachers have the special skills, like they can create a courseware, they can create a courseware in Hindi, they can convert the courseware in Hindi, and also they can encourage some skills in the students. These are the specialized programs we already in on thought process, so that we try to implement, so that everywhere instead of I am conducting this course, my colleagues are conducting, so you can conduct in your school itself, and you would be the our resource person, and you are the coordinator, because security is not today's subject, and it won't complete by if you are learning these 2 days I can survive entire life. So it's a ever growing subject, and IT is growing, the things will be also like a growing, and at the same time technology, along with the technology, even the attacks are also growing. So knowing each and every attack, knowing a kind of a process in implementing the cyber security is a continuous part of education and a continuous part of learning. So we continuously wanted to transfer the activities through you within a kind of some benefits which we will provide. And also we are introducing some kind of thing as part of the like in a Navodaya Vidyalaya Samiti in the region, the best teachers, best contributors, and at the national level. All these things we are thought process in introducing such kind of encouragement. So I request all of you, please part of this society, especially cyber security society, so that you will continually will get information, a lot of new things we will learn by day. And also you are serving the as part of this society to other students and other people where you know. That is what the thing we are planning to in the next few phases, where you will know each and every information whatever that we do that. So with this, I'm welcoming to the era of information security domain, and I hope you all will be the yourself expertise in this domain, and you will guide the others. So I'm very much thankful for all of you to join this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for thank you so much, sir, for your the detailed history of the cyber security and the importance of the cyber security aspect in our life. So I request Ilyas Khan sir to take over from us.
Sir, thank you, sir. नो डाउट सर, जैसा आपने कहा कि इंडिविजुअल के लिए बेनिफिट होगा, साथ ही ये एज मास्टर ट्रेनर हमारे नवोदय विद्यालय के ये टीचर्स हैं, सभी सब्जेक्ट्स से हैं जो एज मास्टर ट्रेनर तैयार होके अपने अपने स्कूल्स में सारे जो स्टाफ है उनको इसके बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन देंगे। अब मैं नेक्स्ट जीत कुमार सर हमारे पीजीटी सीएस हैं, उनको इनवाइट करता हूं। जीत सर।
जी सर, हेलो हेलो।
यस सर।
या प्लीज सर, यू प्लीज गो अहेड सर, यू आर ऑडिबल, प्लीज गो अहेड।
सर सबसे पहले मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मूर्ति सर का, एसोसिएट, जिन्होंने अपनी वर्ड से बहुत सारी चीज़ें को बारे में बताया कि प्रोजेक्ट कैसे काम कर रहा है और कैसे लोगों को इंगेज करना है, कैसे इस प्रोजेक्ट को आगे बढ़ाना है और ये इम्पोर्टेंट है। सर ने ये बताया कि ये प्रोजेक्ट क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है और क्यों हमें साइबर सिक्योरिटी और इन चीज़ों के लिए जानना और समझना है, तो डेफिनेटली हम सबके लिए बहुत ही बेनिफिशियल होने वाला है। थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच मूर्ति सर। और उसके बाद मैं जगदीश बाबू सर का धन्यवाद करता हूँ, जो प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर हैं सीडैक में, कि उन्होंने ये सेशन ऑर्गेनाइज किया और पूरा प्रोसेस कैसे होना है इसके बारे में जानकारी दी हमें। थैंक यू जगदीश सर, थैंक यू सो मच। एंड फाइनली मैं अपनी रिसोर्स पर्सन काजल कश्यप मैम की बोलूँगा कि अब उनको स्टार्ट करना है और वो बताएंगी हमें कि इस सिनारियो में कैसे हम अपने आप को सेफ रख सकते हैं। तो थैंक यू काजल मैम। इलियास सर को बहुत बहुत थैंक यू इस सेशन को स्टार्ट करने के लिए, और मैं काजल मैम से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि वो सेशन को स्टार्ट करें। थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. A very good morning to all of the respected member present here. And in this 2 days training, we will see what are the some threats and attacks in the field of cybersecurity. And we will also cover some fundamental part of the internet as well as some security settings which you can, uh, apply on your web browsers to secure yourself. And we will also see some social engineering attacks as well as and social networking part and mobile security settings also. So with this, let's start our today's session on information security and internet fundamentals. So
Kazal, a small request from our side. Like you can
yes.
just go ahead in bilingual, no? Hindi and English, you can go in bilingual.
Sorry sir, you were not
You can go
audible.
ahead in bilingual, no? Hindi as well as in English,
Sure sir, sure.
as per your convenience.
Okay sir, sure. So,
Hello, sir.
let's start with this term that is internet. So, internet is a very common term nowadays, and we use this term, and we can say that we use internet in our lifestyle for for so many time and for so many hours. So, let's see what is internet. So, the internet is a wider network that allows computer networks around the world. Which is actually running by companies, governments, universities, schools, and other organizations so that they can talk to each other. So the result will be a mass of cables, computers, data centers, routers, servers, repeaters, and satellites and Wi-Fi towers that allow digital information to travel around the world. So we can say that in today's lifestyle, we cannot, हम लोग इंटरनेट के बिना बिल्कुल भी नहीं रह सकते हैं आजकल। 1 मिनट के लिए भी हम लोग इंटरनेट के बिना नहीं रह सकते हैं। तो विद द हेल्प ऑफ इंटरनेट हम लोग वी कैन शॉप ऑनलाइन, वी कैन शेयर आवर लाइफ ऑन सोशल मीडिया, वी कैन वॉच नेटफ्लिक्स शोज एंड मच मोर। And by the end of this year 2020, approximately 4.5 billion people, which is a very huge data, or more than half of the world's population, were estimated to have access to internet, which is actually a very huge data. So let's move to our next slide. So how big is the internet in India? So if we particularly talk about internet in India, so if we look at the figure 1 carefully, we can clearly see the growth of internet users in India, which is expected to reach 30 millions by the year of 2020. And this surge of internet users will only be possible when there is a growth in rural internet users by 75%, right? So this new user growth is expected from rural areas by 2020. And most of the new internet users will be accessing the internet in their local language. And if we see the third point here related to mobile video, it is actually saying that mobile video content will be increasingly in next 5 years, and as a result the growth of smartphones and will be more as compared to now, right? So if we see the next heading, it is actually telling us about the online shopping. So online shopping has also increased 3 times when compared to 2015, and it is going to you know reach nearly 200 million online shopping users by this year only, that is by 2020. So next, it is saying that digital payments are also playing a major role in digital India, with more than 70% of e-commerce transaction via mobile phones. So nowadays, we are actually doing a lot of transaction via our mobile phones as well as. So now if we look at the figure 2 carefully, we can see that approximately 574 million, the number of monthly active internet users have registered an annual growth of approximately, we can see that 24%, indicating an overall penetration of 41%, which is a very huge. And the report projects 11% of growth for the year of 2020, which estimates 639 million monthly active internet users, which is very huge number. And all monthly active internet users mostly use a mobile phone as one of the devices to access the internet, which is actually kind of a threat, because for doing a lot of things we are mostly using our mobile phones. But on the other hand, there are many cons of using the mobile phones as well as. And if we see the next data, about 84% of users access the internet for entertainment percent, and at 38% school going children segment in the age group of 15 years or below has shown a promising growth on internet uses access to basically for information, for getting information and education purpose, for using social medias, for playing games, and for entertainment person entertainment purpose, and especially for sports and other activities. So if we talk about the rural India or rural area, we can see here rural India registered 45% growth in monthly active internet users. So it is now estimated that there are 264 million internet users in rural areas, and this is expected to reach uh, 304 million in the year of 2020. So if we move to the next slide, here we can see how the internet works, right? So first, here you can see the sender, one sender and one receiver. So first, you can see in the process of internet, you can see ISPs and routers. So let me tell you a little introduction about ISPs and router, then we will see what is happening in this image. So what are ISPs? ISP basically your internet service provider that provides you internet connections and all the services related to internet, right? And ISPs are all connected to each other through network access points, public network facilities, and basically they all are connected to a particular internet backbone, and from that particular internet backbone, they are providing us internet, right? So if we talk about the router, so router is a physical, or we can also say that router can be physical as well as virtual. So router is a physical interconnecting or a virtual device that is designed to receive, analyze, and forward data packets between computer networks. So what router does, router examines a destination IP address of a given data packet, and it uses the headers and forwarding tables to actually decide the best way to transfer the packets. So the main work of router is to transfer the data packets in the best possible way so that it can be transferred safely to the destination. So now come to the image. Here sender is sending data through ISPs and routers, and the data is split into packets and that travel through multiple network paths, and the data traffic is managed via routers. As I have told you, the work of router is to manage the data traffic, and then the recipient will receive the sender message. So in this way, the internet works with the help of ISPs and routers. So let's move forward. Yeah, this is also a very basic term, but if we are talking about the internet fundamentals, this is one of the biggest term. So let's see this term also. So if we say this term in simple terms, so the World Wide Web, WW is World Wide Web, is a way of exchanging information between computers, right, on the internet, which is actually tying them together into a vast collection of interactive multimedia resources. So if I elaborate this thing again, internet, we can also say that World Wide Web is a web, which is a collection of websites, web pages, which are actually stored in web servers. So there are many web servers on the internet, and all of the websites and web pages are stored on the web server. So whenever we want to um, we want to know any information related to websites or web pages, we quickly search a particular website or web page, and that particular websites and web page, that all are stored in web servers, and they are connected to a local computer, we can say that, through the internet. So these websites contain text pages, digital images, audios, videos, and the www along with the internet enables the retrieval and display of text and media to your device. So let me just clarify these terms also. The internet and the web, both are different things. Web use internet to pass over the information. So basically there are web servers which are stored on the internet, and all the websites and the web pages are stored on that particular server. So whenever we request one page or website, uh, the internet will just show us the result, right? Let's move forward and see this term also. So dark web, this is a very famous term in the field of cyber security, that is dark web. So in the dark web, there are three, we can say that, three surfaces. First one is surface web, second is deep web, third is dark web. So whatever the internet we are accessing nowadays, until now, whatever the internet we have accessed, that all comes under surface web, and the deep web and the dark web we cannot access, right? So let's see what is surface web. So the surface web is most of us we use every day. So it is accessible through regular browser like your Chrome, your Mozilla, your internet browser, or your Microsoft Edge, Safari, etc. And you can access this surface web anywhere and at any time, as long as you have an internet connection and a browser. So for accessing surface web, you only need any of the browser, regular browser, or any of the internet connection. So other websites, including those of like online stores and businesses, are also part of the surface web. So if we talk about surface web, Yahoo, Google, Reddit, and all the internet part that we are accessing right now, it comes under surface web. Now, if we talk about the deep web, so deep web and dark web, these consist of 96% part of the internet. So you will be amazed to know this thing, that we are only accessing 4% of the internet. So out of 100%, we are only accessing 4% part of the internet, right? So if we talk about the deep web, so deep web is a part of internet that has very specific information, and most of us won't have access to this information, and it is not accessible through search engines like your Mozilla Firefox. So mostly these pages are databases that are only meant for a certain group of people within an organization. So for accessing deep web, you will be you will be needing a special browser to access deep web. You cannot access deep web through this regular browsers like Chrome, Mozilla, Firefox, Safari. So if we talk about the examples of pages which consist of deep web, it consists of university library databases, and any reports, any academic database, any medical records, and any financial records, and legal documents, and some specific reports which are actually sensitive, and government reports. In government reports, we can say that we can easily find any of the mostly government people mobile number, email address, is actually not good to share, and some scientific reports as well as, and some organization specific repository as well as. So you can see that कितना ज्यादा डेंजर है अगर हम डीप वेब पे ये सब एक्चुअली फाइंड कर सकते हैं तो. So if we talk about the dark web, so there is we can say that dark web is a part of internet we call it is actually more difficult to reach than the surface or the deep web. अगर हम deep web और surface web की बात करें, deep web भी हम access नहीं कर सकते, but we have some tools and methods जिससे हम deep web access कर सकते हैं, but dark web को access करना और ज़्यादा difficult होता है as compared to surface and deep web. So it can only be accessible through special browsers such as Tor. So we have some special browsers like Tor, Onion to access dark web, right? So the dark web is the unregulated part of the internet, and no organization, business, or government is in charge of it and able to apply rules over it. That is why there is so much illegal activities happening on this dark web. So this is exactly the reason why the dark web is commonly associated with illegal practices. You can buy drugs on dark web, you can buy illegal, आप लोग guns वगैरह भी खरीद सकते हैं, but it is not actually legal. So it is impossible to reach the dark web through a normal browser such as Google Chrome or Mozilla. So in the Tor browser, you won't be able to find any dark website regarding .in or .org. Instead of that, you will find URLs जो कि usually हमको surface web पे नहीं मिलते हैं. तो आप लोगों को वो सारे links मिलेंगे वहाँ पे डार्क वेब पे जो आप लोग सरफेस वेब पे नहीं मिलते हैं. And moreover, the URL of websites on the dark net change regularly. So dark web पे जैसे अगर हमने आज कोई dark web पे कोई भी लिंक एक्सेस किया और हमने कुछ भी खरीदा उससे, बट अगर हम कल ही उस चीज को खोलते हैं तो वो वेब का जो लिंक है, और हम बोल सकते हैं वेबसाइट का जो लिंक है, वो हमको नहीं मिलेगा. तो वो सिक्योरिटी रीजंस के लिए, ताकि वहां पे जो साइबर क्रिमिनल्स ये सब इलीगल एक्टिविटीज कर रहे हैं वो लोग पकड़े ना जाएं, तो उसके लिए वो लोग क्या करते हैं, वो लोग कुछ टाइम के लिए एक लिंक हम बोल सकते हैं लिंक देते हैं एंड रिलीज करते हैं कुछ टाइम के लिए, एंड उसके बाद जब उनका काम हो जाता है तो उस लिंक को डिलीट कर देते हैं। Next term is our URL. So URL is basically Uniform Resource Locator. So this is also an important term in the field of internet fundamentals. So let's see this term also. So URL is nothing more than the address of the given unique resource on the web. तो URL जो भी आपका कोई भी एड्रेस है वेबसाइट का, वो हमारा URL कहलाता है। सो यहाँ पे हमारे कुछ ये आप देख सकते हैं एग्जाम्पल में फिगर में http://www.google.com। तो यहाँ पे http जो फर्स्ट वन है ये आपका प्रोटोकॉल्स हैं। तो काफी सारे प्रोटोकॉल्स होते हैं, वन बाय वन हम डिस्कस करेंगे क्या क्या प्रोटोकॉल्स मोस्टली यूज होते हैं URLs में, बट मोस्टली http ही यूज होता है, राइट। एंड इन इफ अगर हमारी साइट एकदम सिक्योर है तो वो HTTPS शो करेगा। HTTP शो कर रहा है, दैट मीन्स जो हमारी वेबसाइट है वो सिक्योर नहीं है एंड इट इज नॉट SSL सर्टिफाइड। सो अगर आपको वेबसाइट सिक्योर नहीं दिख रही है तो आई सजेस्ट यू आप लोग उस वेबसाइट को विजिट ना करें। सो हेयर अभी हम देख लेते हैं। सो first example is http www.google.com. So here http is the protocol and www is the subdomain and Google is the domain name and com is your top level domain. So firstly, let's see what is the protocol that we are using here, HTTP. So we can say that HTTP is your hypertext transfer protocol, and the first part of the URL indicates which protocol the browser must use. So a protocol is a method for exchanging and transferring data around computer network. तो हम लोग प्रोटोकॉल जस्ट इसलिए यूज करते हैं ताकि जो हमारी रिक्वेस्ट है, लाइक मुझे इस एड्रेस पे जाना है www.someaddress.com, सो दैट इंटरनेट हमारी रिक्वेस्ट को ट्रांसफर कर सके सर्वर तक, राइट, एंड हमें रिजल्ट्स मिल सके। तो हियर अगर हम सेकंड थिंग देखें दैट इज www.someaddress.com, ये हमारा पूरा डोमेन नेम में आता है, राइट। सो this is the domain name and it indicates which web server is being requested, right। Here in the third section आप देख सकते हैं we are using port, that is 8080. So 80 is the port and we have 35,000 something ports, and a port is a number which is used to uniquely identify and transaction over a network by specifying both the host and the service. So mostly ports are used to differentiate between many IP services such as your web service, your mail service, file transfer service. So port basically is nothing, वो इंटरनेट को हमें बताता है कि हमको कौन सी सर्विस यूज करनी है। अगर हमें वेब सर्विस यूज करनी है उसका पोर्ट अलग है, अगर हमें मेल सर्विस यूज करनी है दैट मीन्स अगर हमें किसी को मेल भेजना है उसका पोर्ट ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज हो जाता है, फाइल ट्रांसफर करनी है उसका पोर्ट ऑटोमेटिकली चेंज हो जाता है। सो इन दिस वे पोर्ट चेंजेस। Last section, it is showing the directory and the resource path. So what does mean? So it is actually a path which show where your files are located on the web server. So as I had already told you that on internet there is a web server. So all the website and the files related to web are stored on the web server. So in the directory and the resource path, it will actually show where your files are located on the web server. So let's move on the next slide. Let's see this HTTP in a bit detailed way. So HTTP is a protocol which allow basically the fetching of resources such as your HTML documents, and it is the foundation of any data which is exchanged on web, and it is a client server protocol, which means requests are initiated by the recipient using the web browser. So a complete document will be reconstructed from all the different sub documents, we can say that, and fetched from the Google or from the server. For example, we can say that text, HTTP consists of text, layout descriptions, images, videos, scripts, and more. So HTTP uses two, we can say that two these things. One is your client and second is your servers. So clients and servers communicate how? By exchanging individual messages. So the messages sent by the client using a web browser are called the basically called the request, and the message sent by the server as an answer are called the response, right? So here we can see that HTTP consists of all the images, videos, and ads, and the web document as well as. Next term, that is FTP. FTP is also a protocol. So FTP basically stands for your file transfer protocol, and FTP is a standard internet protocol and provided by TCP IP, Transmission Control Protocol, and Internet Protocol. We will see this term also in the later slides. And basically FTP is used for transmitting the files from one host to another. That means अगर हमको कोई भी फाइल को एक वेब होस्ट से या फिर एक कंप्यूटर से दूसरे कंप्यूटर तक हमको ट्रांसफर करना होता है या भेजना होता है, तो उसके लिए FTP प्रोटोकॉल का यूज किया जाता है. So we can say that it is mainly used for transferring the web page files from their creator to the computer that acts as a server for other computers on the internet. So FTP is also used for downloading the files to computer from other servers, and it transfers the data more easily and efficiently. तो अगर हमको कोई भी फाइल डाउनलोड करनी है इंटरनेट से, तो उसके लिए हमको FTP प्रोटोकॉल यूज करेंगे. It will automatically it automatically use the FTP protocol. Next protocol is your Telnet. So this is also this protocol also play a major role on the internet. So let's see this also. Telnet is a network protocol that provides a command line interface to communicate with the device. Basically Telnet हम तब use करते हैं जैसे let's suppose अभी हम ऑफिस में हैं एंड हमें अपने घर के लैपटॉप में कोई फाइल देखनी है, तो वी कैन यूज द टेलनेट. हम लोग टेलनेट यूज करेंगे एंड देन हम लोग ऑफिस में बैठे बैठे अपने घर का सिस्टम एक्सेस कर सकते हैं विथ फ्यू कमांड लाइंस. कुछ कमांड लाइंस का यूज करके हम लोग अपने घर का सिस्टम यूज कर सकते हैं और इजीली अपनी फाइल को एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. So basically Telnet is used to access remote device, and हम उसमें अपना यूजर नेम और पासवर्ड डाल के वो सिस्टम यूज कर सकते हैं. नेक्स्ट ऑल्सो देख लेते हैं डोमेन नेम क्या होता है. सो डोमेन नेम इज योर वेबसाइट नेम. वी कैन से दैट जो भी वेबसाइट का प्रॉपर नाम होता है, लाइक any website like CDAC, so this is the domain name. So a domain name is the address where internet user can access website. So a domain name is used for some finding and identifying computers on the internet. So we can also say that a domain name can be any combination of letters, numbers, and it can be used in combination of various domain names extensions such as .com, .in, and many more, right? So for using domain, you must be registered for new one before using it. So हमारे पास काफी सारे डोमेन की वेबसाइट है जहाँ से हम कोई भी डोमेन परचेज कर सकते हैं. GoDaddy, HostGators, काफी सारे डोमेन्स के लिए परचेजिंग के लिए वेबसाइट्स हैं, तो डोमेन फर्स्ट हमें यूज करने से पहले हमें वहां से परचेज करना होता है. सो एवरी डोमेन इज यूनिक. कोई भी डोमेन सेम नहीं होना चाहिए. एवरी डोमेन शुड बी यूनिक and no two websites can have the same domain name. Next is IP address. So this play a very important role in the field of internet. So IP address stand for Internet Protocol Address. So it is basically, we can say that it is an identifying number that is associated with a specific computer or computer network. So when connected to the internet, the IP address allows the computer to send and receive information. तो अगर हमको कहीं भी कोई information या कोई भी request हमें भेजनी है, तो उसके लिए हमें IP address चाहिए ही चाहिए होगा. So there are 4 types of IP addresses. First is public, second is private, third is static, and fourth one is your dynamic. So let's see what is public. So public IP address is basically used outside of the network, right? So if we want to, let's suppose there is an organization, and we can say whatever whatever the IP address that is accessing outside the network, that comes under public. And if we talk about the private IP address, so private IP addresses are used inside of a network, or an we can say that inside of an organization. Third one is your static. So a static IP address is one that is manually created, and static IP address does not change, right? And next one is your dynamic. So dynamic IP address has been assigned by a we can say that dynamic host configuration protocol server, and is subject to change. Basically, the difference between static and dynamic is dynamic IP address can change with time to time, and static IP address does not change. It is exact, right? So there are only active, if we talk about the dynamic IP address, they are only active for a certain amount of time, and after which they expire, and computer will automatically receive a new one. But in this static IP address case, the IP address do not change. So this was the brief about the IP address. Let's see this thing also. So IP address consists of these classes, which most of the people are not aware of. And we have this 5 classes under IP addresses, that is A, B, C, D, E. Let's see these also. So under class A, so IP address belonging to class A are assigned to the network that contains a large number of hosts. So basically जो हमारे IP addresses हैं उनमें 5 classes में divided है, and हर एक class में एक range होती है. So जिसमें class A में सबसे ज़्यादा हम host assign कर सकते हैं IP address के. लेकिन अगर हम B क्लास की बात करें तो B क्लास में हम मीडियम से लेके लार्ज साइज के नेटवर्क को होस्ट कर सकते हैं, या फिर कहेंगे कि रेंज में आएंगे आईपी एड्रेसेस के. एंड इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द क्लास सी, तो जितने भी स्मॉल कहें कि जितनी भी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्टार्ट होने जा रही है, कोई भी नई कंपनी स्टार्ट होने जा रही है, तो उनको ऑब्वियसली आईपी एड्रेस की नीड होगी, एक नेटवर्क क्रिएट करना होगा उनको. बट उनकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में भी 10 to 15 पीपल ही हैं, ज्यादा नहीं है. तो वो लोग अंडर क्लास सी आएंगे, क्योंकि वहां पे उनको ज्यादा नेटवर्क रेंज की जरूरत नहीं है, तो वो लोग सी क्लास यूज करेंगे, क्योंकि इसमें स्मॉल साइज के नेटवर्क्स एडजस्ट हो जाते हैं. और अगर हम डी क्लास की बात करें, सो डी क्लास जो होती है वो रिजर्व होती है मल्टीकास्टिंग के लिए. एंड अगर हम ई क्लास की बात करें, सो ई क्लास रिजर्व्ड फॉर एक्सपेरिमेंटल एंड रिसर्च पर्पसेस. सो जो भी रिसर्च हो रही है फ्यूचर्स में या अभी हम कर रहे हैं रिलेटेड टू दिस आईपी एड्रेस, वो सारी हमारी क्लास ई में आती है. Next, there are 2 versions of IP addresses which you all are aware of, but let's see this also. So IPv4. So what is IPv4? IPv4 basically stands for Internet Protocol version 4. So IPv4 uses 32-bit address. That means what it means? It can provide support for around 4.29 billion IP addresses, which is looking actually very huge. But all the 4.29 billion IP addresses have now been assigned, which is actually leading to addresses shortage issue. And we are actually facing this today. So IPv4 is the technology that makes it possible for us to connect our devices to the web. And whenever a device access to the internet, it is assigned a unique numerical IP address. We can say that 192.168.1.2, and then send data from one computer to another through the web. And a data packet must be transferred across this network containing the IP address of both devices. So basically अगर हमको कोई भी डिवाइस को इंटरनेट से कनेक्ट करना है, और तो सबसे पहले क्या होगा, एक आईपी एड्रेस उस डिवाइस को मिलेगा, एंड देन ही वो हमारी जो रिक्वेस्ट है, जो भी हमको सर्च करना है गूगल पे रिलेटेड टू एनीथिंग, कुछ भी हो सकता है, तो पहला स्टेप यही होगा कि वो हमको आईपी एड्रेस मिलेगा हमारे डिवाइस में, देन ही वो हमारी रिक्वेस्ट को नेटवर्क तक भेजेगा, अदरवाइज वो नहीं भेजेगा। अगर आईपी एड्रेस असाइन नहीं है, जैसे हम नया सिस्टम लेते हैं तो उसमें आईपी एड्रेस हमको मैनुअली असाइन करना पड़ता है कभी कभी केसेस में। सो जब तक हम उसको असाइन नहीं करते तब तक हम इंटरनेट नहीं यूज कर सकते अपने सिस्टम में। तो वही चीज ये है IPv4 के वंस अगर एक बार आपका आईपी एड्रेस उसमें प्रोवाइड आ गया है, तभी आप इंटरनेट को एक्सेस कर सकते हैं। लेकिन अगर हम IPv6 की बात करें, वैसे तो दोनों सेम ही है, but IPv6 is the 6th version of internet protocol and this is the 4th version. So it functions similarly, same ही काम करता है IPv4 से, but IPv6 जो है वो 1028 टाइम्स जो है वो बड़ा है IPv4 से। तो आप सोच सकते हैं IPv4 में हम 4.29 बिलियन आईपी एड्रेसेस एक्सेस कर सकते हैं, और वी कैन से दैट इसमें मतलब जगह है इतने एड्रेसेस की, बट IPv6 जो है 1028 टाइम्स बिगर है IPv4 से। सो दिस इज एक्चुअली वेरी ह्यूज, एंड so there are more than enough IPv6 addresses to allow for internet devices to expand for a very long time. So this we have covered, this we have already covered. So now in future actually IPv4 is replacing with IPv6, or in sooner time we will see IPv6 using in our system. So here you can see in the first image IPv4 address. How to check IPv4 address? Just go to your settings, network settings, and there you will see network connection details, and here आप देख सकते हैं डिस्क्रिप्शन, मेरे सिस्टम का नाम, फिजिकल एड्रेस, एंड हियर IPv4 एड्रेस जो कि आपका आईपी एड्रेस है यहाँ पे, राइट। एंड अगर आप इधर देखें तो लोकल लिंक IPv6 एड्रेस ये आपका ऐसे में शो हो रहा है। तो अगर हम इसमें डिफरेंस देखें थोड़ा सा, तो नंबर ऑफ बिट्स IPv4 यूजिंग इज 32, ऑन द अदर हैंड इट इज यूजिंग 128, एंड फॉर्मेट जो है वो डेसिमल है, जैसा आप देख सकते हैं IPv4 में 10.10.16.49 जो कि डेसिमल फॉर्मेट यूज कर रहा है, बट ऑन द अदर हैंड अगर हम IPv6 में देखें तो वो हेक्साडेसिमल फॉर्मेट यूज कर रहा है, एंड कैपेबल ऑफ एड्रेसेस स्टोर करने के कैपेबल है 4.3 बिलियन, एंड IPv6 हम बोल सकते हैं कि इनफाइनाइट नंबर्स, काफी ज्यादा कैपेबल है वो एड्रेसेस को स्टोर करने में। एंड अगर आप लोगों को IPv4 में जो भी हम यूज कर रहे हैं सिस्टम को पिंग करना होता है, तो उसके लिए हमारी कमांड होती है सबसे पहले आप अपने कमांड प्रॉम्प्ट में जाते हैं, अगर आप कंट्रोल विंडोज और R की बटन दबाएंगे तो एक CMD खुलेगा, एंड देन वहां पर हमारा कंट्रोल पैनल खुलता है जहाँ पे हम अपने IP एड्रेस को पिंग कर सकते हैं। पिंग करने का फॉर्मेट होता है पिंग एंड स्पेस आपका आईपी एड्रेस। तो आप देख पाएंगे कि कितने पैकेट्स सेंड और कितने पैकेट्स रिसीव हो रहे हैं आपके उस पर्टिकुलर आईपी एड्रेस पे। एंड IPv6 के लिए पिंग करने के लिए हमारी कमांड है ping 6। Yeah, so let's move ahead and see information. So if we talk about the information, information is an asset which has some value to an organization and it needs to be protected. So every we can say that हम लोगों का schools में, colleges में, organizations में हमारी स्टूडेंट्स की और हमारे खुद की काफी लोगों की इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोर्ड होती है। तो वो इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोर करना हमारे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और उस इंफॉर्मेशन को सिक्योर करना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज आजकल बहुत सारे साइबर अटैक, साइबर क्राइम्स हो रहे हैं जो हमारे हैकर्स होते हैं उनका मेन एम होता है कि उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का डेटा हैक कर लिया जाए और उसके बदले वो लोग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के जो मेन मेंबर्स होते हैं उनसे वो रैंसमवेयर डिमांड करते हैं। उस इंफॉर्मेशन को वो तभी देंगे जब आप कुछ रैंसम मनी उनको प्रोवाइड करेंगे या फिर उस इंफॉर्मेशन को आप मिसयूज भी कर सकते हैं वो हैकर्स। सो इंफॉर्मेशन को सिक्योर करना आज के दिन में आज के टाइम में बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। हमारी पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है सिक्योर करना, एज वेल एज हमारी ऑफिस की इंफॉर्मेशन भी सिक्योर करना बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है। सो इंफॉर्मेशन कैन बी, हम क्रिएट कर सकते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन को, हम कहीं भी स्टोर कर सकते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन को इन द फॉर्म ऑफ हम कंप्यूटर पे स्टोर कर सकते हैं, हम पेपर्स में स्टोर कर सकते हैं, इंफॉर्मेशन को हम डिस्ट्रॉय कर सकते हैं, प्रोसेस कर सकते हैं, दैट मीन्स हम उसको चेंज भी कर सकते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन, एंड वी कैन ऑल्सो ट्रांसमिट दिस इंफॉर्मेशन फ्रॉम वन कंप्यूटर टू अनदर। एंड हम यूज कर सकते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन को, करप्ट भी कर सकते हैं इंफॉर्मेशन को, खराब कर सकते हैं अगर किसी की इंटेंशन ठीक नहीं है तो वो आपकी इंफॉर्मेशन को करप्ट कर सकता है। इट कैन बी लॉस्ट अगर वो सही से लेट सपोज मैंने कोई अपनी पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन, पर्सनल डेटाबेस बनाया और वो अपने सिस्टम पे यूज किया, तो ड्यू टू मेरे सिस्टम में मैलवेयर अटैक हुआ या वायरस अटैक हुआ तो उस वजह से वो इंफॉर्मेशन लॉस्ट भी हो सकती है, राइट। सो हमको हमेशा अपने सिस्टम में बैकअप रखना है ताकि अगर हमारी कोई भी मेजर इंफॉर्मेशन लॉस्ट होती है या फिर कोई भी किसी भी तरह का मैलवेयर या फिशिंग अटैक होता है, सो दैट हमारी वो इंफॉर्मेशन प्रॉपरली सिक्योर रहे और हमारे पास उस चीज का बैकअप रहे। एंड इंफॉर्मेशन कैन ऑल्सो बी स्टॉलन and printed or written on paper and stored electronically and transmitted by post or using electronic means and shown on corporate videos. We also made some information related to our projects and we also made some PPTs related to our school information or projects information. So in this way we are also हम अपनी इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर कर रहे हैं थ्रू दैट PPTs और थ्रू दैट डॉक्यूमेंट्स ऑल्सो। एंड इंफॉर्मेशन कैन ऑल्सो बी पब्लिश्ड एंड डिस्प्ले ऑन वेब। लेट सपोज हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कोई भी नया प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट हो रहा है तो हम अपनी वेबसाइट पे वो इंफॉर्मेशन को पब्लिश कर सकते हैं, बट हमें कंप्यूटर के इस साइड बैठे हमें नहीं पता कि जो हैकर हमारी स्क्रीन के दूसरी तरफ बैठा है उसकी इंटेंशन क्या है, वो किस तरह से हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन को यूज कर रहा है। सो जब भी हम कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोर कर रहे हैं, कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन को हम डिस्प्ले कर रहे हैं तो वो हमें प्रॉपर देख के करना चाहिए कि अगर इन केस अगर हमारी कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन हैक हो जाती है या किसी भी तरीके से स्टोलन हो जाती है तो उसके कोई बुरे कोई प्रभाव नहीं पड़ने चाहिए। एंड वी कैन ऑल्सो से दैट कि इंफॉर्मेशन को हम बोल के भी बताते हैं। Next, what is information security? So, information security is not only about securing information from unauthorized access, it is basically a practice. We can say that information security is basically a practice of preventing unauthorized access, preventing unauthorized use, disclosure, disruption, modification, inspection, recording और डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ दैट इंफॉर्मेशन। सो हमको इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी में हम जो हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन है उसको हम किसी भी मिसयूज होने से बचाते हैं। सो इंफॉर्मेशन कैन बी फिजिकली और इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली, फिजिकली भी हो सकती है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली भी हो सकती है. इंफॉर्मेशन कैन बी एनीथिंग लाइक योर डिटेल्स, और वी कैन से दैट योर प्रोफाइल डिटेल्स ऑन सोशल मीडिया and your data in your mobile phones and your biometrics also. With the help of your biometrics, we can gather information through your biometrics also. So next is IT security. So what is IT security? So IT security is a set of cyber security strategies that prevents unauthorized access to organization assets such as computers, networks, data, and it maintains the integrity and confidentiality of sensitive information and blocking the access of sophisticated hackers, we can say that. So, if we talk about, अगर हम इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी की बात करें तो इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी है जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली और पेपर पे स्टोर है, हमें उसको कैसे भी सिक्योर करना है. उसके लिए हमारे पास काफी सारे टूल्स होते हैं, काफी सारे मेथड्स होते हैं. उसकी हेल्प से हम लोग अपनी इंफॉर्मेशन को सिक्योर करते हैं ताकि हम ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को हैक होने से बचा सकें. बट अगर हम आईटी सिक्योरिटी की बात करें, सो आईटी सिक्योरिटी में हमारी जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस है, इसमें थाउजेंड्स ऑफ सिस्टम्स अवेलेबल है, कंप्यूटर्स हैं, नेटवर्क्स हैं, डेटा है. सो आईटी सिक्योरिटी में जो भी हमारे कंप्यूटर्स, नेटवर्क्स एंड डेटाज हैं, हम लोग उनको अनऑथराइज्ड एक्सेस होने से बचाते हैं ताकि जो साइबर क्रिमिनल्स और हैकर्स हैं वो हमारे कंप्यूटर्स, नेटवर्क्स और डेटा का मिसयूज ना कर सके और वो उन नेटवर्क, कंप्यूटर्स और डेटा को हैक ना कर सके एनी हाउ. So, information assurance is the next term that we see here. So, information assurance, नाम से ही हमें पता चल रहा है कि हमें information को assure करना है. That is, हमको information को बचाना है. So, it is an act of ensuring that data is not lost when critical issue arises. So, कभी भी क्रिटिकल इश्यूज आ सकते हैं, जैसे कि हमारे नेचुरल डिजास्टर्स हो गए, कोई भी कंप्यूटर फेलियर हो सकता है, नेटवर्क फेलियर हो सकता है, कोई भी कंप्यूटर खराब हो सकता है किसी भी टाइम, एंड कोई फिजिकल थेफ्ट भी हो सकता है, चोरी हो गई है हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में, एंड एनी अदर इंस्टेंस वेयर डेटा हैज द पोटेंशियल ऑफ बीइंग लॉस्ट. सो हमको पहले से ही डिसाइड करके चलना होता है कि अगर ये सारी चीजें हो गई हमारे साथ, तभी भी हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योर रहे. हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन किसी थर्ड पर्सन के पास नहीं जानी चाहिए अगर ये सारी भी मुश्किलें आ गई हमारे पास. सो एक बैकअप होना बहुत जरूरी है इस डेटा का इन केस ऑफ द मेंशन्ड इशू अराइज. सो ऑलवेज हमको अपने डेटा का हमेशा से ही एक बैकअप रखना चाहिए इन केस हमारी विंडोज की हार्डवेयर उड़ गई या कुछ भी हो गया, कुछ भी हो सकता है. तो उस केस में हमको हमेशा से एक बैकअप रखना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट वी if we talk about if we are talking about the information assurance, let's talk about the threats. So इंटरनेट से अगर हम इंटरनेट यूज कर रहे हैं तो उसके साथ हमारे कुछ एडवांटेजेस भी आते हैं, बट उसके साथ कुछ डिसएडवांटेजेस भी आते हैं. एक्चुअली बहुत ज्यादा डिसएडवांटेजेस आते हैं. तो अगर हम इंटरनेट यूज कर रहे हैं तो हमारे पास बहुत सारे चांसेस हैं कि हमारे सिस्टम में बहुत सारे थ्रेड्स, मैलवेयर्स और वायरसेस आ सकते हैं. सो अगर हम थ्रेड्स की बात करें तो थ्रेड्स हमारे कुछ इस तरह के होते हैं अगर हम इंटरनेट यूज कर रहे हैं. थ्रेड्स दैट इज सॉफ्टवेयर अटैक पहला सबसे बड़ा थ्रेट होता है अगर हम इंटरनेट यूज कर रहे हैं, कि सॉफ्टवेयर अटैक, कि किसी भी हमारे सिस्टम पे किसी भी तरह का सॉफ्टवेयर अटैक हो सकता है, किसी भी सॉफ्टवेयर पे भी अटैक हो सकता है एंड किसी सॉफ्टवेयर के थ्रू भी हमारे सिस्टम पे अटैक हो सकता है. दूसरे टाइप का थ्रेट है थेफ्ट ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी, एंड तीसरा है थेफ्ट ऑफ इक्विपमेंट और इंफॉर्मेशन. Fourth one is your sabotage, and then comes information extortion. So one by one हम लोग देखते हैं कि ये threats कितने ज्यादा हार्मफुल है हमारे डे टू डे लाइफ के लिए और हम इससे कैसे अपने आप को प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं. सो पहला जो थ्रेट आता है वो आता है सॉफ्टवेयर अटैक. सॉफ्टवेयर अटैक में बहुत सारे अटैक हैं, बट अभी हम लोग इन्हीं थ्रेड्स के बारे में बात करेंगे जो कि हमारा आता है वायरस, वॉर्म्स, ट्रोजन हॉर्सेस एंड स्पाईवेयर। बिकॉज मोस्टली जो साइबर अटैक्स आजकल हो रहे हैं वो इन्हीं रीजंस की वजह से हो रहे हैं, ड्यू टू वायरसेस, ड्यू टू वॉर्म्स, ड्यू टू ट्रोजन हॉर्सेस एंड ड्यू टू स्पाईवेयर। सो वन बाय वन हम लोग इन टर्म्स को देखते हैं, ये क्या होते हैं और ये कैसे वर्क करते हैं और हम इनसे कैसे अपने आप को सिक्योर रख सकते हैं। तो पहला जो टर्म आता है वो आता है वायरस। ये हम लोग बचपन से ही पढ़ते आ रहे हैं, बट जब एक्चुअली हमें इसके हम बोल सकते हैं जब इनके शिकार होते हैं तो वायरसेस हम एक्चुअली इतना ध्यान नहीं देते हैं, हम किसी भी फाइल पे क्लिक कर देते हैं और हम उसके वायरस के शिकार हो जाते हैं। सो वायरस देख लेते हैं एक बार होता क्या है। सो अ कंप्यूटर वायरस is a malicious program that we can say that self-replicates by copying itself to another program. So अगर हम सिंपल टर्म्स में इसको बोले तो कंप्यूटर वायरस जो है वो स्प्रेड करता है अपने आप को इनटू अदर कंप्यूटर्स, दूसरे कंप्यूटर्स में थ्रू डॉक्यूमेंट्स के थ्रू भी स्प्रेड करता है और एग्जीक्यूटेबल कोड्स के थ्रू भी ये स्प्रेड करता है। सो the purpose of creating a computer virus is to infect vulnerable systems. So vulnerable system, what are vulnerable systems? These are the weaknesses of a particular system. So every computer system has some or we can say the one out of weaknesses. So what attacker does, attackers just attackers just scan that vulnerabilities of a particular system of a particular organizations and see what are the vulnerabilities जो कि वो लोग हैक कर सकते हैं। सो vulnerabilities बेसिकली कुछ नहीं है, weaknesses हैं एक पर्टिकुलर सिस्टम की। अटैकर्स क्या करते हैं, बहुत सारे हमारे पास टूल्स हैं, बहुत सारे हमारे पास मैनुअली स्टेप्स हैं जिसकी हेल्प से हम लोग देख सकते हैं कि एक पर्टिकुलर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के जो सिस्टम्स हैं उसमें क्या क्या वीकनेसेस हैं। तो जब वो वीकनेसेस आ जाएंगी उस पर्टिकुलर टूल्स की हेल्प से हम अटैकर क्या करता है, अटैकर उस पर्टिकुलर वीकनेस को अटैक करता है, उसको एक्सप्लॉइट बना के उसको अटैक करता है और फिर जितनी भी इंफॉर्मेशन आपके सिस्टम में होती है वो सारी हैकर के पास चली जाती है। सो one of the ideal methods by which viruses spread is through emails. So opening the attachment in the email, and we can also see that visiting an infected website and clicking on an executable file, or we can say that viewing an infected advertisement can cause the virus to spread your system. So beside that, infections also spread while connecting with already infected removable storage devices such as your USB devices. So here हम देख सकते हैं how does a computer virus operate. So here you can see a person who is actually receiving an email containing a trapping link, and if the users click on the link, his PC is infected with virus, and then infections via USB thumb drive also is possible, and then that USB file is passed on to the another system, and the virus infected the PC, spams, and the trappy email. So in this way, virus operates. It basically spreads through one computer to another computer. It can also spread through emails, and it can also spread through USB drives, or we can say that pen drives. So in this way, virus spreads. So I request you all, please do not click on any of the links that you receive on a daily basis. Always try to check or always see carefully from where you have received that particular link. And we also have some email scanners and websites which tells you whether that particular link is authenticate or not. I'll going to tell all the tools and all the websites in the later slides. So let's move forward. So we have this type of computer viruses. So these are some of the types of computer viruses. First one is your boot sector virus. we have microvirus, we have multipartite virus, we have overwrite, direct action virus, polymorphic virus, space filter virus, resident virus, rootkit virus, overwrite virus. See, it is actually important to learn about all these viruses and the type of viruses, and see what actually they does and how we can protect ourselves from these kind of viruses. So let's fastly see these terms also and see how to protect us from these kind of viruses. So first one is boot sector virus. So this type of virus infects the master boot record, and it is challenging and complex task to remove the virus, and it often requires the system to be formatted, and mostly it is spread through removable media. So जो boot sector virus है, ये नाम से पता चल रहा है, जो हमारे सिस्टम का मास्टर बूट रिकॉर्ड होता है, ये उसको अटैक करता है, एंड अगर एक बार ये वायरस हमारे बूट सेक्टर में पहुंच गया, उसके बाद हमारे पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, हमें सिस्टम फॉर्मेट करना पड़ेगा. वंस एक बार आपने अपना सिस्टम फॉर्मेट किया, उसके बाद आपको सारी इंफॉर्मेशन चली जाएगी. सो इसीलिए आपको हमेशा अपना जो भी इम्पोर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन है उसका बैकअप रखना है, एंड किसी भी लिंक पे क्लिक नहीं करना है. सो अगर हम दूसरे वायरस की बात करें, दैट इज माइक्रोवायरस. सो एज द नेम सजेस्ट, the microviruses particularly target we can say that macro language commands in application like Microsoft Word, and the same is implied on other programs too. So attackers क्या करते हैं, एक वायरस बनाते हैं एक माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड के फॉर्म में, वर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट के फॉर्म में वायरस अटैच कर देते हैं, और वो आपको ईमेल के थ्रू भेज देंगे. तो आपको लगेगा लेजिटिमेट फाइल है, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड की फाइल है, तो आप उसको क्लिक कर देंगे, एंड .exe वगैरह आपको कुछ शो नहीं होगा उसमें, नॉर्मल आपको वर्ड फाइल दिखेगी, लेकिन एक्चुअली वायरस उसमें अटैच होगा, आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा. आप उस फाइल को डाउनलोड करेंगे एक बार, एंड डाउनलोड करते ही जितनी भी आप पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन है, अगर आपने उस सिस्टम पे, पर्टिकुलर सिस्टम पे जिस पे आप ये वायरस की फाइल खोल रहे हैं, अगर आपने उसमें कोई भी सेंसिटिव इंफॉर्मेशन जैसे कि आपकी अपनी कोई भी बैंकिंग ट्रांजैक्शन करी होगी, या कोई भी ट्रांजैक्शन की रिलेटेड आपके डेबिट कार्ड इन सब से होगी, तो आपकी ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन हैकर को चली जाएगी. नेक्स्ट है multipartite virus. So this type of virus is spread through multiple ways, and it infects both the boot sector and executable files at the same time. So जो भी files आपकी चल रही होंगी उस system पे, उस अटैक करेगा, as well as boot sector, दोनों पे अटैक करेगा ये, और करके आपका पूरा जितना भी आपका कंप्यूटर का डेटा है वो पूरा इन्फेक्टेड हो जाएगा. Next is overwrite virus. So overwrite virus is a kind of virus that delete all the files that it infects. That मतलब कि एक बार उसने कुछ भी आपकी जो सिस्टम्स में आपकी फाइल्स हैं उसको इन्फेक्ट करना शुरू किया, इन्फेक्ट करते करते वो डिलीट कर देगा. कभी कभार हमने देखा होगा कोई हमारी फाइल है, वो हमने क्रिएट करी है, बट अभी हम चलाया तो ठीक चल रही थी, बट कल चलाया तो उसमें आ रहा है कि फाइल इज ऑटोमेटिकली डिलीटेड, या फिर वो खुलता नहीं है, शॉर्टकट शो होता है, तो वो ओवरराइट वायरस है. So the only possible mechanism to remove this, to delete the infected file, and the end user has to lose all the contents in it, and identifying the overwrite virus is difficult as it's spread through emails. So most of the viruses are spread through emails. So always try to look carefully before clicking on any of the link or any of the we can say that file in your email. So next is your direct action virus. So direct action virus is also, we can say that they are also called non-resident virus. What it means it get installed or stays hidden in a computer memory, and you will not be aware that your system is prone to virus or your system has virus, and it will be hidden in the computer memory, and it stays attached to the specific type of files that it infect, and it does not affect the user experience and the system performance. तो आप लोगों को पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि आपके सिस्टम में वायरस है, बट ये अपने आप को धीरे धीरे जितनी भी आपके सिस्टम्स में फाइल्स और फोल्डर्स हैं उन सबको अटैच करके इन्फेक्ट करता रहेगा एंड आपको पता भी नहीं चलेगा. Next is polymorphic virus. So these type of viruses are difficult to identify with a traditional antivirus program. So अगर आपके पास एंटीवायरस प्रोग्राम है भी तभी भी आप इस टाइप के वायरस को आइडेंटिफाई नहीं कर पाएंगे, बिकॉज ये जो वायरस है ये एक तरह से रेप्लिकेट करता है. So this is because polymorphic virus alters its signature pattern when it replicates, right? So हम लोग हमारे बेसिकली हम लोग हैबिचुअल है कि हम लोग एंटीवायरस यूज नहीं करते हैं बिकॉज मोस्टली वो हमारा सिस्टम स्लो बना देता है. सो ये हैबिट को हमें चेंज करना है एंड हमें ऑलवेज पेड एंटीवायरस यूज करना स्टार्ट करना है. सो talking about the next virus, we have space filter virus. So this is also called cavity virus, and this is called so as they fill up the empty spaces between the code and hence does not cause any damage to the file. So basically हम लोग बोल सकते हैं कि ये बैकग्राउंड में वर्क करेगा एंड धीरे धीरे हमारे फाइल्स और फोल्डर्स को इन्फेक्ट करेगा एंड जो भी एम्प्टी स्पेसेस होंगे उनको एंड हमें पता भी नहीं चलेगा. Next is resident virus. So we can say that resident viruses get installed on the computer and it is difficult to identify the virus and it is even difficult to remove a resident virus, right? So basically these kind of viruses stored within memory and it allow it to infect other files even when the originally infected program is no longer running. Next, we have Rootkit Virus. So what is Rootkit Virus? So the Rootkit Virus is a malware type which we can say that secretly install an illegal rootkit on an infected system. So this open the door for attackers and give them full control of the system, which is actually not good. And the attacker will be able to fundamentally modify or disable functions and programs which you are using in your system. And like other sophisticated viruses, the Rootkit virus is also created to bypass antivirus software. So this kind of virus bypass the antivirus software, and if your system has Rootkit viruses, your antivirus will not work at all. And the latest version of major antiviruses and anti-malware program include Rootkit scanning. So nowadays, whatever the new antiviruses are coming, they are including this Rootkit scanning. Next is overwrite virus. So this kind of virus design proposes tend to vary, and we can say that overwrite viruses are designed. Basically, these are used or made to destroy a file or application data. So जो overwrite viruses हैं वो आपकी कोई भी फाइल और एप्लीकेशन को ओवरराइट कर लेगा ओरिजिनल की जगह, और जो भी आपका डेटा है वो ले लेगा, वो हैकर की तरफ के पास भेज देगा. एंड वी कैन these viruses are we can say that are more capable of targeting specific files or applications or systematically overwrite all the files on the infected device. And we can also say that the overwrite viruses is capable of installing a new code in the files or the applications which programs them to spread the virus to additional files, applications and system. So firstly ये क्या करेगा, ये आपकी जो भी एप्लीकेशंस और फाइल्स हैं, कुछ एप्लीकेशंस कुछ फाइल्स को टारगेट करेगा और फिर जो ओरिजिनल डेटा है वो चोरी करके अपने आप को हम बोल सकते हैं ओवरराइट कर देगा, और फिर धीरे धीरे जितनी भी आपकी फाइल्स और जितनी भी आपकी एप्लीकेशंस है उन सबको धीरे धीरे उसमें भी वो वायरस स्प्रेड कर देगा. So these are a brief. These all are what the, we can say that, brief about some kind of viruses and इनके क्या क्या functions होते हैं और ये कैसे कैसे work करते हैं. तो हम देख लेते हैं, अगर हमारे सिस्टम में हमारा कोई भी सिस्टम इन्फेक्ट हो गया है वायरस से, तो उसके क्या साइंस होते हैं, हमें कैसे पता चले कि हमारा सिस्टम जो है वायरस से इन्फेक्ट हो गया है. पहली चीज, स्लो सिस्टम परफॉर्मेंस, वो स्लो हो जाएगा, बहुत ही स्लो आपका पीसी और लैपटॉप वर्क करेगा, मोबाइल फोन एज वेल एज. एंड आप लोग बहुत सारे एडवर्टाइजमेंट्स एंड पॉपअप्स देखेंगे अपनी स्क्रीन में. कभी कभार हम लोग देखते हैं मोजिला या क्रोम यूज कर रहे होते हैं, तभी भी बहुत सारे पॉपअप्स आते हैं स्क्रीन में. तो उस केस में भी आपका जो सिस्टम है वो वायरस का हो सकता है, वायरस हो आपके सिस्टम में. थर्ड इज program running on their own. So some applications and file will start running on their own, and files multiplying and duplicating on their own, and new files or programs in the computer. You will see a new files or the program which you have not created or you have not installed in your system. So this is a sign of viruses that your system is has some virus. And files, folder or programs getting deleted or corrupted. So your files, folders and programs will automatically be deleted or corrupted. And the sound of hardware drive, you will see an unusual sound in your hard drive. So these all are the sign of virus infection. Next, uh, we'll see this term, that is worms. So what are worms? So in computer language, we can say that a computer worm is a type of malware and that spread copies of itself from computer to computer. So a worm can replicate itself without any human interaction, and it does not need to attach itself to a software program in order to cause damage. अगर हम वायरस की बात करें तो वायरस में एक ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन चाहिए होता है. जब भी सपोज एक हैकर ने वायरस भेजा है एक लेजिटिमेट यूजर को, तो जब तक उस वायरस वाली फाइल पे एक लेजिटिमेट यूजर क्लिक नहीं करेगा तब तक आपके सिस्टम में कोई वायरस नहीं आएगा. लेकिन वॉर्म में, अगर हम वॉर्म्स की बात करें तो वॉर्म्स में हमें कोई ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन की कोई नीड नहीं होती और उनको अटैच करने के लिए कोई भी सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोग्राम की कोई जरूरत नहीं होती है. तो वॉर्म जो है वो अपने आप को रेप्लिकेट करता है विदाउट एनी ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन. तो अगर हम देखें कि हाउ डू कंप्यूटर वॉर्म्स वर्क, तो लेट्स सी. सो worms can be transmitted via software vulnerabilities. So there are many software which are prone to vulnerabilities or which have so many weaknesses. So worms basically, we can say that criminals send criminals send that vulnerabilities or that worms through that software vulnerabilities. So we can also see that computer worms could arrive as attachment in the spam mails, or we can say that instant messages. So once you click that email, these files could provide a link to a malicious website or automatically download the computer worm, we can say that. So once it is installed, the worm slightly goes to work and infects the machine without the user knowledge, and you will be not aware of that. Your system is has some computer worm, and worm can modify and delete files, and they can even inject additional malicious software into a program. And sometimes a computer worm purpose is only to make copies of itself over and over, and such as your hard drive space or bandwidth by overloading a shared network. And we can also say that worms can steal your data, and worms can install a backdoor. What is basically backdoor? Backdoor is basically runs behind your system, and you will be not aware that a backdoor or a worm is running behind your system. And you will be not you cannot track that software, or you cannot track that worm that is running as a backdoor and allow a hacker to gain control over a computer and its system settings. So these are the threats that comes from the worms. So what are the signs of worms in computer? So when worms replicate themselves, they start to use up the free space on your system. So always try to look carefully that how much free space is there in your system, and how much of system hardware or the applications are actually using on your system. Second sign of worms are slow. You will see slow speed and slow performance. Third, you will see some files will be missing, or you will see some new files that will be arising, or that will be created in your system automatically. So these are some of the signs of worms. Next, software attack, or we can say that software threat, is Trojan horse. So what is Trojan horse? Let's see. So Trojan horse is a type of malicious code, or we can also say that it is a software that looks legitimate but can take control of your computer. And a Trojan horse is basically designed to damage, disrupt, steal, or in general inflict some other harmful action on your data or on your network as well as. So a Trojan act as an just like an application or a file to trick you, to actually fool you that this is the legitimate application or this is the legitimate file, but actually it is not the good or the legitimate file, or the intention of that application is not at all good, and it sees to devise, or we can say that deceive you into loading and executing the malware on your device. And once you click, a Trojan can perform the action it was designed for. So once you click on that particular application, or sensitive data will be passed on to the hacker. So it will delete data, it will block your data in order to use it, it will modify your data, it will copy your data, and it will disrupt the performance of computers or your computer networks. So let's before seeing these terms, that how Trojan can impact your system, let's see how Trojans work. So you might think you have received an email from someone you know, and you click on it. So what looks a legitimate attachment, but actually it is not a legitimate attachment, and you have been fooled. So the email is from a cyber criminal, and the file you clicked on and downloaded and opened also has gone to the install malware on your device, and you are actually not aware of all this happening in your system. And when you execute the program, the malware can spread to other files as well as and other application as well as, and damage your computer totally. So in this case also, I will suggest you never ever download any of the links that you received in your email, because it is the actually strategy of the cyber criminal to actually fool you. So let's now see these terms, how Trojans can impact your system. So Trojans can impact your system in many ways, by uh, through backdoor, through exploit, through rootkits, through DDoS, through downloader, and through ransom. So I'll going to tell you these terms. First one, if we see the first term, that is backdoor Trojan. So in the case of backdoor Trojans, so this Trojans can create a backdoor on your computer. So it lets an attacker access your computer and control it. So whatever data or whatever things you are accessing in your system, it will be just passed on to the attacker, and the attacker can control it. And your data can be downloaded by a third party, or we can say that it can be stolen easily. So we can also say that cyber criminal can upload a malware in your device also. So next is rootkit trojans. So in the case of rootkit trojans, uh, basically the aim of rootkit trojans is to hide on your infected computer. Once what cyber criminal will do, cyber criminal will send one rootkit trojan, and it will just infect your whole system, and it will hide in your system, or it will hide in your computer, and any of the antivirus will not able to detect that trojan. So the main purpose of rootkit is to infect your computer and to remain hidden. Next here, let's see also what is exploit trojans. So exploits are basically we can say that kind of attacks which are wrapped in a code. So once let's see, I am a cyber criminal, and once I send you that exploit code wrapped in, basically it can be wrapped in any of a file. So once as a legitimate user I clicked on that file, I will be exploited with lots of malicious Trojan horses and viruses and worms. So next is Trojan DDoS. DDoS is your distributed denial of service. So in distributed denial of service attack, so the idea is to take down a network by flooding it with the traffic. So cyber criminal will flood your network with a lot of traffic, and in that case you won't be able to use your system or your resources. So the traffic comes from your infected computers and others, we can say that. Next is your trojan downloader. So what is this? This trojan targets your already infected computer. So firstly the cyber hacker will check whether your system is already infected or not. Then it will make you a target, and it downloads and install new version of malicious programs. So in this way your whole computer will be corrupted. Next is ransom uh, trojan. So this trojan seeks a ransom to basically we can see that undo damage it has done to your system or your computer, and this can include blocking your data, and we can say that it can impact your computer's performance. It will make your system slow as compared to before, and it will not be able to use you or any kind of data or any kind of files which you want to use. Next kind of threat in cybersecurity is spyware. So spyware is the term given to a category of software which aims to steal your password, your organization information, and it is done by performing a set of operations and without appropriate user permissions, we can say that. And general, if we talk about the spyware, they basically performs um, spreading advertisements, spreading unwanted advertisements which you mostly sees on your systems, or we can say that which we mostly sees on our web browser while surfing anything on the internet. And spyware main purpose is to collect your personal information, and it will also change your system settings or your configuration settings of the computer, so that they can access it. And by the means of they, that means cyber criminal can access that system and steal all of your sensitive data. So we already have different types of spyware also. So the first type of spyware is adware. Second is password stealers. Then here comes keyboard loggers, and then banking trojans. So what is the work of adware? So nowadays you see a lot of free ad supported software which makes ads show up in pop-up windows or any of your operating system while browsing anything. So this can be a legitimate software just with some annoying ads, and at its worst we can also say that adware is malware that can gather your personal information by tracking the website you visit or recording your keystrokes. So you have mostly you have seen, if we have gone to some of the shopping website like amazon.com, and we have wish listed one or two of the items in our wish list, and after accessing that amazon website, we close that website and goes to access our social media accounts like our facebook or instagram. So while accessing the facebook, we mostly see that product on our facebook page, and we are amazed that how facebook people knows that I like this product, or how that this product is in my wish list. So this is all adware. We call it adware. They are actually taking your we can say that personal information by tracking the website you visit, or whatever the keystrokes you are actually recording in your system. So we will also see how to protect from these kind of adwares in our next sessions also. So next, if I talk about the keyboard loggers, what are these? So keyboard loggers are basically the key loggers. So key loggers comes in hardware as well as in software program. So basically the work of keyloggers is to monitor each keystroke that you are typing in your keyboard. So whatever, if you have we can say that keylogger installed in your system, it will automatically record all of the keystrokes that you have typed in your system. If you have typed space, if you have typed anything, or if you have a login to a particular website, then also it will record your username and it will record your password. So here the cyber criminals are using these kind of agendas and send these kind of keyloggers as an attachment also, or there are many keyloggers which are actually residing on the websites which are not legal, or which are not we are not suggesting to use that website. So while downloading those kind of softwares, you will be target of cyber criminals, and all your sensitive information will be passed on to the cyber criminals. Next is your password stealers. As the name suggests, there are whatever the passwords related to your websites, or related to your any of the bank account will be can be steal by the hackers. Next is your banking trojans. So these kind of trojans basically meant to steal the details related to your bank account. These will solely focus on your banking details. So whatever the banking details or the sensitive information related to your credit card, debit card, your any of the payment related information will be passed on to the hackers through many of the banking trojans. So with this, let's move forward. So we have seen all of the software threats that cyber criminals are actually targeting the legitimate users. So now let's see how to protect against these kind of software threats. So first one is use antivirus protection and a firewall. So always try to use paid antivirus. Do not use open source or free of cost antivirus. Always try to use paid antivirus and firewall. Next is get anti-spyware software that will automatically detect any of the malware activities, or any of the malware application that will install on your system. Next is always keep your antivirus protection and anti-spyware up to date. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए एक बार एंटीवायरस आपने इंस्टॉल कर लिया देन यू आर फाइन, देन यू आर सेफ. नो, हमेशा आपको एंटीवायरस टाइम टू टाइम अपडेट करना है, and update your operating system regularly, and increase your browser security settings, and avoid questionable web series also. Do not try to, fill any of the questions that are asking on any of the website, like your phone number, your email addresses, kind of stuff. This can be harmful to you as well as your for your info, for your personal information. And next is only download software from sites you trust. सो ऑलवेज हमेशा सॉफ्टवेयर उसी साइट से आप लोग डाउनलोड करें, उसी वेबसाइट्स पे जाएं, ऑथेंटिकेटेड वेबसाइट्स पे, देन वहीं से सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल करें। किसी भी वेबसाइट से आपको सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल नहीं करना है। अगर आप ऐसा करते हैं तो उस सॉफ्टवेयर में ऑलरेडी एक वायरस या वॉर्म्स के होने के चांसेस ज्यादा हैं। नेक्स्ट इज carefully evaluate free software and file sharing application before downloading, right? एंड जब भी आप कोई भी सॉफ्टवेयर या एप्लीकेशन डाउनलोड करते हैं, फर्स्टली आपको उसको स्कैन करना है। अगर आप ऑथेंटिकेटेड वेबसाइट से भी डाउनलोड करते हैं, अगर आपकी सिस्टम में एंटीवायरस है, वो उसको ऑटोमेटिकली स्कैन कर लेगा और बताएगा कि सॉफ्टवेयर ठीक है या नहीं है। Next is do not open messages from unknown senders. This I have already told you that please do not open any of the phishing mails or any of the suspicious emails or any of the suspicious link that you have received on a daily basis. So always try to avoid that. Next kind of threat is your theft of intellectual property. So in this kind of threat, basically it involves robbing people or companies of their ideas, inventions and creative expressions. So basically cyber criminals क्या करते हैं, किसी का भी कुछ लोगों का आइडियाज या कोई भी इन्वेंशंस होती हैं, वो उन पे नजर रखते हैं, एंड जैसे ही मिलता है दे विल जस्ट rob that ideas, inventions and creative expressions, which is actually not legal. So this is also kind of biggest threat while using the internet. Next, theft of equipment or information. So theft of equipment is actually becoming more and more prevalent today, due to the fact that most devices today are mobile. So cell phones are actually more vulnerable to theft. तो वंस लेट सपोज अगर हमारा मोबाइल फोन है, उसमें हमारी सारी डिटेल सेफ है, हमारे कॉन्टैक्ट्स नंबर, हमारे फोटोज एंड हमारा जो भी बैंकिंग का फाइनेंशियल डेटा है वो सारा सेफ है। तो अगर एक बार हमारा फोन चोरी होता है तो हमारी सारी इंफॉर्मेशन उस पर्सन के पास चली जाएगी। डेटा तो जाएगा ही जाएगा, साथ में जितना भी आपका पैसा होगा वो भी चला जाएगा। So do not store any of the sensitive information in your mobile phone. आप कभी भी अपने मोबाइल फोन में कोई भी सेंसिटिव इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोर ना करें। अगर आपको कोई भी बैंकिंग ट्रांजैक्शंस करनी है अपने मोबाइल से, तो हमेशा आप लोग कॉगिटो विंडो या प्राइवेट ब्राउजर्स का यूज करके ही करें, अदरवाइज ऐसे ना करें। और किसी भी लिंक के थ्रू कोई भी फाइनेंशियल ट्रांजैक्शंस को ना करें। दूसरे ब्राउजर में जाएं, प्राइवेट ब्राउजर में जाएं, वहां पे अलग से लिंक को खुद से टाइप करें और फिर उसको उस पे जो भी आपकी फाइनेंशियल इंफॉर्मेशन है वो आप उसमें दे सकते हैं। नेक्स्ट थेफ्ट इज योर सैबोटेज। सो सैबोटेज क्या करता है, बहुत सारे साइबर क्रिमिनल्स हैं जो कि ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को, छोटी छोटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन या बड़ी बड़ी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को टारगेट करते हैं और उनकी वेबसाइट्स को हैक कर लेते हैं। ये लोग, ये चीजें बहुत कॉमन है आज के दिनों में। सो दे पीपल हैक, वेबसाइट को हैक करके उनका पूरा डेटा हैक कर लेते हैं। इसके उनके कस्टमर्स भी उनकी कस्टमर की इंफॉर्मेशन हैकर्स तक चली गई, तो उनका पूरा वी कैन सी दैट बिजनेस इज इन लॉस। Next is information extortion. So information extortion consists of theft of a company's property or information as an attempt to receive a payment in exchange for returning the information or property back to the owner. So cyber criminal will ask you some kind of money or some kind of ransom money in order to exchange for that information. तो वो बोलेगा ये information आपकी organization की लोगों की मेरे पास है, अगर आप मुझे इतना amount pay करोगे तभी मैं आपको वो information वापस करूंगा, otherwise वो information मैं leak कर सकता हूँ. वो इन्फॉर्मेशन किसी भी तरह की हो सकती है, कोई भी सेंसिटिव इन्फॉर्मेशन हो सकती है रिलेटेड टू आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, रिलेटेड टू स्कूल की कोई भी सेंसिटिव इन्फॉर्मेशन हो सकती है. सो इस तरह के थ्रेड से हमें प्रॉपर सिक्योर रहना है, अपने आप को सिक्योर रखना है. सो नेक्स्ट अब हम देखते हैं इंटरनेट फंडामेंटल्स के हमारे कुछ बेसिक प्रिंसिपल्स भी हैं. सो these are the confidentiality, integrity and availability. So information security programs are built around three objectives commonly known as CIA. So C for confidentiality, I for integrity and A for availability. So let's see what is confidentiality. So confidentiality means information is not disclosed to unauthorized individuals, entities and processes. That means information can only be disclosed to the authorized person and the right person. So for example, if I say that I have a password for my Gmail account, but someone saw while I was doing a login into Gmail account, so in that case my password has been compromised and we can say that confidentiality has been breached. And next is integrity. So if we talk about the integrity, it means maintaining accuracy and completeness of data. So that this means data cannot be edited in we can say that an unauthorized way. We cannot edit that data, right? So for example, we can say that if an employee leaves an organization, then in that case data for that employee in all the departments like accounts should be updated to reflect status to job left, so that the data of that person will not be misused in any case, right? And data is complete and accurate. In addition to this, only authorized person should be allowed to edit that employee data, right? Next is availability. So what is availability? Availability means information must be available when needed. So if I needed any particular information right now, it must be available right now. So let's say one example, if one needs to access information of a particular employee or a particular student, we can say that to check whether um, employee has how many number of leaves he had taken in the past year or the past few days, and in that case it requires collaboration from different organizational teams like network operations and development operations, incident response and policy change management. So these all terms are basically the heart of information security. So let's move on our next slide. So we have seen the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Let's see also this term non-repudiation. That is, non-repudiation means one party cannot deny receiving a message or a transaction, nor can the other party deny sending a message or a transaction. That means अगर मैं एक सेंडर हूँ तो मैं ये मना नहीं कर सकती कि मैंने एक मैसेज भेजा है या मैंने कोई भी मेल भेजा है, एंड द रिसीवर कैन ऑल्सो कैनॉट डिनाई कि उसने वो मैसेज या कोई मेल है वो रिसीव नहीं किया है, राइट? सो अगर हम एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे लें, सो it is actually sufficient to show that message matches the digital signature signed with the sender's private key, and that sender could have sent a message and nobody could we can say that alter that message, right? So here we have some security mechanism, that is for confidentiality we are actually using the security mechanism of encryption, and for integrity, for maintaining the integrity, we are using hashing mechanism, and for authentication we are actually providing digital certificates, and how to check digital certificates I will also tell you. And next is your non-repudiation, that is digital signature. That means the sender can also not deny that he has not sent any of the message, and receiver can also not deny that he has received any of the message or any of the mail. So let's see one by one what is encryption. So encryption can actually help protecting your data that you send, receive, and store using any of the device, using a mobile, your laptop, your any of the device. So that can include text messages stored on your smartphones. That can include running logs saved on your we can say that fitness watch also, and your banking information which is sent through your online account. So encryption is the process that actually scrambles readable text so that only it could be read by the person who has the secret code, or we can say that decryption key. So the authorized person can only see that particular information. So it helps to provide data security for sensitive information. So in this example, we can say that hello, that is in plain text, and after applying the encryption mechanism method, the plain text is successfully converted to cipher text, which is actually encrypted. And in order to decrypt this cipher text, we need a key, and without key we cannot decrypt, we cannot see the message. So we have two types of encryption, or we can say that there are two mechanisms of encryptions. First is your symmetric, and one is your asymmetric. So the symmetric one uses the single password to encrypt and decrypt data. So अगर मैंने किसी को कोई मैसेज सेंड किया है तो उसके लिए एक सिंगल पासवर्ड यूज होगा एनक्रिप्ट करने के लिए भी, और रिसीवर के एंड से डिक्रिप्ट करने के लिए भी वो सिंगल पासवर्ड यूज होगा, चेंज नहीं होगा, अलग अलग नहीं होगा. On the other hand, if we talk about the asymmetric encryption, it uses two keys, one for encrypting and second one is for decrypting. So a public key which is shared among users encrypt the data, and a private key which is not shared, that decrypts the data, right? So why is data encryption is necessary? So data encryption is necessary so that our data can remain private, and we can maintain the privacy of data, and we can maintain the security of that data, and we can maintain the authentication of that data. Next mechanism is your hash function. So what is hash function? So basically hash function maps a plain text of any of the length into a hash function, which we can easily see in a mathematical term. So one of the advantage of using hash function is it is one-way transformation, and second is offer integrity without the cost of encryption. That means your information cannot be changed, and the information will remain same in case of hash encryption. Next is message can read when authentication is unnecessary. So with this, we have some disadvantages of this hash encryption. First is no confidentiality, and second one is can be altered by attackers to match altered message. This can easily be hacked. So there are many of the hash generators we can say that we can easily find on the Google, and with that we can convert our hash function or hash value to plain text. So in this way, hackers also, if they find any of your hash value, they will easily convert that hash value into the plain text and will get to know what is that particular information. Next, we have digital signature. So let's fastly see what is digital signature. So digital signature is a process that guarantees that the contents of the message you have been altered in transit. That means whatever the information that is actually residing in that particular message have not been changed, right? and when you, the server, and the dignity sign a document, you add a, we can say that, one-way hash encryption of the message content using your public and private key. So this is the process of digital signature. Firstly, we apply a hash function. This is our message. This is the message, and the hash algorithm creates a unique abstract of that message. Then it is sent to a message digest, right? And after that, a private key of sender encrypts that message digest, and after that it is finally sent for digital signature, which actually encrypt your this we can say that digest becomes, and it becomes actually digital signature. So this is the process of applying digital signature in any of your we can say that in any of a simple message. Next is your once in our message digital signature is applied successfully, one time symmetric key encrypts message and signature, and that the receiver, we can see that the receiver or the owner of the message receive public key and encrypts one time symmetric key, and in this way it can encrypt message and signature with that one time key. Next, we also have a digital certificate. So we mostly say while visiting any of the website, always try to check that that particular website has the digital certificate or not. If not, then the website is actually not secure or not genuine. So in this way, we can say that digital signature, digital certificate consists of we can say that owner public key and website's owner name and expiration date of the public key, or we can also say that the expiration date of the website, and name of the issue which CA that has issued the digital ID, and serial number of the digital ID, and digital signature of the issuer, and this is the digital certificate. And let's see how to check the digital certificates. I'm going to show a small demo that how you can check the authenticity of digital signature. Just a minute, let me share my screen. I hope you all can see my browser. So now let me access one of the website. Let's access CDAC. So how to check the digital certificate of any of the website? Just here you can see padlock. This is the padlock, or we can say that this is the lock. Just click on this padlock, and here you can see the connection is secure. It is showing in the green color that the connection is secure with the tab. So just click on this. For more information, you can click here and see you are securely connected to this site. That means this website is fully digital certified. And if you want to see who have given digital certificate to this particular website, you can click on the more information, and with this more information you can view the certificate also. This is the digital certificate. Here you can see in this way you can easily see who have validity of the certificate, and DNS name and other information, and the public key information. And let me just go back to the website. So in this way you can see clear cookies and site data views, other information also, and owner of the website, and verified by and expires on. So it is, so in this way you can see whether that particular website has uh, digital certificate or not. So let me go back to my screen. Yes, just a minute. Yeah. So in this way, you can easily check whether any of the particular website has a digital certified or not. So if not, then please try to avoid using that website. Next, we have also some of the security protocols. And in this security protocols, we have one of the most important OSI layer model. And with this OSI layer model, we can, see how the internet is actually working and how our information is passing on. So let's see this also. So OSI is basically open system interconnection, and it basically describes how information from a software application in one computer moves through a physical medium to software application in another computer. So it has 7 layers, and let's fastly see what are the working of these 7 layers. So first one is your physical layer. So the working of physical layer is basically responsible for the physical cables, wireless connections between network nodes. So physical layer defines the, we can say that wireless technology, which is connecting to devices, and it is responsible for transmission of raw data. So basically the first step is the raw data is transmitted to series of, we can say that binary number, that is zeros and one. And then comes to the data link layer. Then the data link layer is basically establish a connection between two devices, we can say that, and it breaks the packets which are coming from the, we can say that, network into frames and send them from one source to another destination. Third one is your network layer. So the network layer has two main functions. One is breaking up segments into network packets and reassembling the packets on the receiving ends. So the other routing, we can say that packets are discovered by best path across a physical network. So the main purpose of a network layer is to find the best path for data, so that data can travel to another source. Next one is your transport layer. So in transport layer, it takes your data into session layers and breaks it into segments on the transmitting end. So next is your session layer. So what does session layer do? Session layer creates communication channels, which we basically call sessions between devices, and it is responsible for opening sessions, ensuring that they remain open and functional while data is being transferred. And we can also say that closing them while communication ends. So the session layer can also set checkpoints during a data transfer. And if the session is interrupted by anyhow, so in that case, devices can resume data transfer from the last, we can say that, checkpoint. Next one is our 6th layer, that is presentation layer.
मैम,
Yes, sir.
हेलो हेलो
Yes, sir.
अभी कितना लंबा चलना है क्या?
Sir, बस 5
कितने
more
स्लाइड से
minutes.
है आपकी? हैं?
5 more
Sorry, ma'am?
minutes.
5
Sir,
minutes.
5 minutes बस.
More session also.
हाँ, उसको समराइज कीजिए मैम, क्योंकि
Yes,
नेक्स्ट सेशन भी
yes,
होगा.
sir.
Okay.
सर,
After this, like, we will be having another 15-minute session also, or you want us to do in the afternoon?
ओके सर.
Sir, you can
Okay,
take over if you want to.
No, Kazal, you just summarize within another next 5 minutes so that we can break for lunch now.
Okay,
Yes.
sure. Sure, sure.
ओके.
Okay, so I was on the presentation layer. So let's talk about this fastly. So the presentation layer prepares data for the application layer, which is the 7th layer, and it defines how two devices could, we can say that, encode, encrypt, and compress data. So it is received correctly to the other end. And the presentation layer takes any transmitted by the application layer and prepares it for transmission over the session layer. That is our 5th layer. And the last layer is our application layer. So the application layer is used by end user software such as web browsers, email clients, and it provides protocols that allow software to send and receive information and present meaningful data to users. So next layer is our TCP IP layer. So TCP are transport control protocol, and IP is internet protocol. So basically the work of TCP is to convert message into stream of packets so that it can easily transferred over the travel to the network, and IP handles the addressing and make sure that a packet reaches its proper destination. So we have also this TCP layer, which consists of 5 layers, that is a network interface, internet, transport, and application. So the work of network interface is to basically responsible for transmission for between the two devices on the same network. That means whatever the information is being transferred on the two devices, it is network interface is responsible, and the internet layer is basically move packets from sender to receiver, and it provide the interconnection to the sender and the receiver, and the transport layer is actually responsible to process that particular message, and it makes sure that the message is sent to error free. And the last one is your application layer, so it basically allow access to network resources. So this was it from my side. Thank you all. If you have any questions related to today's sessions, you can ask.
To Ilyas sir.
Sir. Hello. Some questions in question answer box, ma'am.
Yes.
If
Question
there are
answer
any
box.
questions, kindly note it down. Kindly write down in the chat box.
सर क्वेश्चन आंसर बॉक्स में कुछ क्वेश्चंस हैं.
किधर है सर, चार्ट में?
यस सर, क्वेश्चन आंसर बॉक्स जो है.
We'll just see this.
One question is there. Can we access deep web through Chrome or etc. by using user ID password provided by related organization?
No, you cannot access deep web through the normal browsers. You need to access some of the special browsers for accessing deep web or dark web.
Second one is generate a bank statement through net banking is surface web or deep web.
In many cases, we can find or cyber criminals can find information related to your net banking also.
Basic difference between worm and Trojan.
Worm basically replicates itself, and worm on the other hand, if we talk about Trojan horses, Trojan horse works on the background, or we can say that Trojan horses जो होते हैं आपके systems के पीछे work करते हैं, और we can say that चलते हैं, and हमें पता नहीं चलता है उससे, and धीरे धीरे वो हमारी information को hackers को pass on कर देते हैं.
Okay, I think that's it, as of now. If there are any questions, teachers, please note it down in the chat box so that we will answer all the questions. So we thank you, Kajal, for your continuous session.
Thank you, sir.
Worms does not work on background. I think there is one more question. Worms
No.
Doesn't work on background?
No.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Kajal. Like, we will meet again by 2 o'clock so that you can start your session. And
Okay,
I think afternoon we have to cover desktop security, browser security, email security, and introduction to e-learning also. We have to cover those aspects because like we are running out of time. So teachers, like, please join exactly by 2 o'clock. Before 2 you join so that we will start our session by 2 o'clock. We have to cover desktop security, browser security, email security, and e-learning. And kindly please bear with us if it goes beyond 4 o'clock also. Definitely it will go beyond 4 o'clock with all your question and answers. So please be with us up to 4:30. Max by 4:30 we will close the session, afternoon session. So please be prepared for afternoon session 2 to 4:30. Okay. So with that, thank you everyone, and sharply we will join the session by sharply we will again join the session by 2 o'clock. That's it from our side. Ilyas sir, you please, if you want to make any restrictions, you please go ahead, sir.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू काजोल मैम। बहुत इफेक्टिव वे में आपने बताया कि कैसे डिवाइसेस को हम प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हैं। साथ ही में पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि एक अटेंडेंस गूगल फॉर्म चैट बॉक्स में डाला हुआ है, प्लीज़ आप उसको फिल कर दें और अपने अटेंडेंस इंश्योर कर लें ताकि आपने मीटिंग ज्वाइन की है। हार्डली 2 और 3 मिनट्स के बाद लिंक शायद ऑफ हो जाएगा। जगदीश सर।
यस सर, नो इश्यूज, नो इश्यूज सर, नो इश्यूज सर।
यस सर, यस सर। पार्टिसिपेंट से रिक्वेस्ट है कि वो चैट बॉक्स में जो अटेंडेंस गूगल फॉर्म डाला हुआ है उसका लिंक आप उसको ओपन करें और आप अपनी अटेंडेंस फिल कर दें। अभी हमारे पास 85 पार्टिसिपेंट्स का आया है, अभी काफ़ी बाकी हैं। If you have any problem, then write in chat box or in WhatsApp group.
Let them write it in the chat box in this, WebEx chat box in the WebEx, so that it can be cleared off. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir, once you say like we close the session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Kazal, and we will join the session exactly by 2 o'clock. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Sir, link open on at 1:45.
No, this we will continue, sir. We are not going to stop this link.
Oh,
it will be
okay.
continued. Whoever
Okay,
wanted to
okay,
continue,
okay.
and whoever wanted to join back again can join.
Okay, 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 sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.